Are you in control of your world, or is your world controlling you? And if you've lost the feeling that you are controlling your world, you need to rediscover the fact that you as an individual have the ability to build things, and you have the ability to break things. You have the ability to stop short, and you have the ability to press on. You have the ability to make change, or by choice, you have the ability to stay stuck. And all of this begins with discovering your sense of self.
So the giant question is this: how do we, as parents, teachers, school administrators, policymakers, coaches, how do we prepare our kids for a future that doesn't yet exist? All while making them healthier, more creative, more innovative, better problem solvers, and overall successful contributors to society. That is the question, and this podcast has the answers. My name is Coach Mike, and welcome to the MindFit Method Podcast.
Hey everyone, what's going on? So my name is Coach Mike. If you don't know me, I am the founder of MindFit USA, and I am the author of the MindFit Method. The MindFit Method is a program, or really a process, in which you use high-intensity exercise to enhance learning. And when I wrote the MindFit Method, I did it specifically for helping children learn the world of STEM. And as you may know, if you do know me or if you don't know me, I am working on a second book now that is really going to dive into an individual's productivity by looking at how dopamine really interferes or controls their life in so many ways. But that's for another day, because I think this is a great topic today. It's something that so many people that I know need to do. They need to rediscover their sense of self, because life is moving past us today at like 6,000 miles an hour. And sometimes, and myself included, I feel so out of control, whether it's with work, whether it's at home, which is all the stuff with the kids, whether it's with MindFit, whether it's with making sure I get my podcast episodes done, whether it's writing the new book. Sometimes I just feel completely overwhelmed and completely out of control. And sometimes you have to rediscover your sense of self. Because essentially, and this is something everyone needs to remember, every single day, and I guess I'm bringing this up because we just passed New Year, and I still see all this New Year's resolution stuff out there. It's driving me crazy. But it is a great time to kind of reflect and to look back, because every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year is a clean slate. But let's start with the day. Every single day that you wake up is a clean slate to do whatever you want to do going forward. Now, you're probably saying, okay, yeah, Mike, it doesn't work that way, because I have to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning, get the kids ready for school, and then I've got to get to work, and my day is completely controlled. And that may be the case. But you have to realize that the things that you're doing right now not only has an impact on what happens over the next 10 minutes, 60 minutes, half a day, full day, whatever it is, the things that you do right now absolutely impact how things are going to play out over the next month, the next 6 months, the next year, the next 5 years. Because sometimes we talk about our goals and we push those goals so far out because we know it's going to take time to get there, but we don't take the steps to get there. And sometimes we don't even take the first step. We just come up with a great idea. It's like people that I know that say, oh, I had the idea for Netflix, or I had the idea for this, or they had the idea for that. And if I had done it, I would become a multi-gazillionaire. Well, having an idea and actually taking action are two incredibly different things. And if we're not taking action on a daily basis to accomplish what we want to accomplish, then we're never going to reach that goal. But that goal starts now. It doesn't start Monday. I mean, that's the one thing, as you guys have probably heard me talk about before, when people are like, oh, I'm totally going to start this new fitness program. I'm totally going to start this new nutrition program. On Monday, I'm gonna stop. You're setting yourself up for failure right out of the gate, because you're assuming that on Monday, conditions are going to be perfect. And trust me, conditions are never perfect. And we need to stop almost like obsessing over the requirement in our mind that everything has to be in order, to allow us to really be able to take that step forward or to continue to move forward. Because let's be honest, it is never, ever going to be perfect. Your month of fitness is never going to be perfect. Your 3 months of nutrition is most likely never going to be perfect. And most certainly the exact time and what you take action towards when you're doing your goals is probably not going to be perfect. And here's the biggest reason why. Because whatever you're doing to start reaching your goal is probably something new. Right? You haven't done it before. It's something new that you're going to implement so that you can change your life, start a business, be fitter, be more healthy, whatever it is. So you're going to do something new. And when you start at doing something new, guess what? You're probably going to suck at it because you've never done it before. And you just got to be able to find your way to be able to keep pushing forward, keep getting better at that, a little better every day at that thing that you're doing to try to get yourself to a point where you are actually going to make progress towards reaching your goal. And while starting all these new things and implementing all these new things is really cool, right? You also have to remember that the more that you focus on and are able to leverage the things that are going to have a positive impact on your future, the more control you have, the more power you have to lead yourself in that direction towards reaching whatever goal or whatever accomplishment you are trying to achieve. And I'm actually going to dispute a common meme that I see on the internet all the time, because something that I see a lot is, you just have to take the first step. And look, it's 100% true, right? You just have to take that first step to start moving in the right direction towards your goal. But when you're doing the first step, a lot of times the first step is fun, right? It's new, it's exciting, you're motivated. The first step sometimes, once you get over the fear of taking that first step, the actual action of doing that first step sometimes isn't that bad. However, step 100, step 500, step 22,000, they can be difficult. And I see this a lot when someone starts posting on some type of social media that they're begun a new health program, and they're getting fit, their nutrition's getting so much better, and they start posting their before and after pictures. Right? When you first post your before picture, your after picture, it's amazing because you get all this response on social media. Right? Everyone's like, oh my gosh, good for you. You're such an inspiration. The reason people are saying that is because you took the first step, right? And then you continue working your way towards your goal, whatever that is, whether your fitness program is on track, you're staying consistent, you're eating the things that you have to eat, whatever that is. But when you get to step 22,000, right? It's not new. It's not exciting. At that point, it's about discipline and it's about consistency. And then when you post on social media, so you start on day 1, and then 6 months later, you already look great. You've been looking good for 2 months now, and you're posting about your workout. Guess how much interaction you often then get on your social media? The answer is very little. Because at that point, no one wants to celebrate maintaining fitness. No one wants to celebrate all the steps in the middle or all the steps that are required in order to keep the results that you have. Everyone just wants to celebrate that first step. It's very similar when someone's child gets accepted to college. You get all of this, feedback of, oh my gosh, it's so great, because everyone is excited about the anticipation of what's happening next. No one gets excited when that person then posts 3 months later about how difficult all the work is and how they're trudging through and they're working to get good grades. Everyone's like, oh yeah, good job, right? It's a totally different world. Everyone wants to celebrate the fun part, but it's not the fun part that actually gets you forward. And this is where, more than anything, really defining your sense of self is so important, because you have to figure out who you are. And, going back to things not being perfect, the sooner that you realize that there are going to be outside forces that are going to have an impact on your hour, on your day, on your week, whatever, the faster you're going to be able to react to those forces. And I've said this before, since it's never going to be perfect, it's not as important, even with willpower, right? Willpower is something that we rely on in order to get the stuff done. But willpower waxes and wanes just like anything else. So instead of getting upset and being like, oh, I just can't reach my goal, I don't have the willpower to do it, you are going to have moments where you don't have the motivation, the inspiration, or the willpower to be able to move forward. And at those points in your life, you have to be able to say, okay, that being said, I'm down in the dumps. I'm not making progress. I deal with this myself when I'm writing. I will go a week at a time where all of a sudden I am writing words for a book like crazy. And then all of a sudden I go 3, 4, 5 days where nothing comes out. And I know they call it writer's block. I don't think it's writer's block. I think it's like I had a culmination of ideas. I got those ideas out. I put them on paper. And now that I did that, I am working through the process of regenerating the next group of ideas that I want to be able to put down on paper. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it only takes a day or two. It really depends, on the situation. But there are going to be things that that are out of my control that happen. Whether you're having the best writing day of your life, and when I wrote my first book, I spoke the whole book into a dictation app, and then I downloaded the dictation app down onto a Word document, and I edited from there. This time in writing the dopamine intervention, it's a very different process. And I'm kind of surprised, but I'm actually sitting at a computer and writing this time. It's very different. And I have really good periods of writing, and then I have really bad periods of writing. It depends on the day. So when you have that time period where everything is not going right, you don't have the willpower, you don't have the motivation, whatever it is, that's when you need to lean on your ability to be able to get back on track. Be able to look back and say, okay, everything just went to shit. I totally get it, but I'm going to flip the script on this and I'm going to get back on track. And one of the ways you do that is by figuring out the most important thing to do. And more specifically, the most important thing to do next. What is the thing that you can do to get yourself back on track? And that is where leverage comes in. You really have to look at, okay, what are the things that I can do today, right now, that I can leverage to be able to produce the maximum amount of results or impact? So let me give you an example. Let's say you want to be able to get up early and you want to be able to work out, right? You want to be able to take the time to meal prep. You want to be able to do, one or two other habits that are important to you that do take a little bit of time, but you just can't find the time to do it. And the reason you can't find the time to do it is because you're just so tired, because you had such a busy day. Look back for a minute and be like, okay, I'm not getting these things done because I'm so tired. So the first thing I need to address before I start working out like crazy, before I start taking all this time to meal prep, how do I address this tired issue? And what you might be surprised is that when you start exercising, you'll actually be a lot less tired. But that being said, the first thing you could do is, do you really need to spend 2 hours a night watching Netflix or scrolling on Instagram? Because if you could go to bed and not do those things, and then actually relieve the amount of tiredness that you have on a daily basis, you can then leverage that to be able to accomplish your other goals. So you have to find the things that are going to have the most impact on what you are trying to accomplish. That's where the consistency comes in, and just kind of, trudging through it. In some ways it is, in some ways it isn't, but it's sort of like a ruck march. Right? Ruck march is when soldiers go out, they have their pack on, they're holding their gun, and they've got to go do, a 30-mile walk or even more than that with all of their gear on. And if you talk to a lot of these soldiers, the first 17, the first 20 some miles of that, they're just terrible. It's just a matter of like, how do I get through this? But once you get to that point, something actually happens inside of your brain, and it allows you to almost go on autopilot. I picked up on this back when I was in high school. I was a junior in high school the first time I realized it, and I was a cross-country runner. And I always felt like the hardest part of a cross-country race was the first 400 meters. And it's very much like starting, a new goal or something. When you're at the line and you're waiting for that gun to go off, you're excited, you're motivated, you're ready to go. And then all of a sudden the gun goes off, and that first 400 meters, you have some guys that are sprinting right off the line. You have other people that are acting like a rabbit and they're just taking off way too fast. And you're trying to find your pace for that first, 400 meters, 800 meters, something like that. If you can keep your mindset being, where it needs to be for that first 400 or 800 meters, my body would go into autopilot. And at that moment, it was just like repetition. Boom, boom, boom. Every step, you're just doing the next logical thing that you need to do, which was put the next foot in front of the other. And that was it. But the other interesting thing about the ruck march is that when you talk to a lot of these soldiers, what they will tell you is while that first 17, 20 some miles was terrible, when they finished it, they felt fantastic. They were on autopilot at that point. Yes, their bodies were tired, but they felt amazing because of what they had accomplished. And, overthinking, and I've talked about, getting overloaded with knowledge and things like that, that is going to put you in such a rut. And in the end, action, not thinking, but action is the best cure for almost everything in your life. Let it be the things that you do on a daily basis that actually lead you forward. Because otherwise you're just going to get caught up in your mind and you're going to come up with a great idea. And then you're going to come up with all the reasons that that great idea is not a great idea. And you're going to talk yourself right out of it. Come up with an idea and boom, do it. Just get on top of it and do it. Don't fall prey to, well, the timing's not right. This isn't perfect. That isn't perfect. Just stop doing everything else that you're doing and do it. Because that is how you are going to truly identify your true sense of self. You have to understand who you are, what you can take, what you can handle, and then look back and be able to say, okay, I can take that. I can do this. That I can't do. So I'm not going to try to make myself perfect at it. I'm going to work my way around it instead of trying to constantly run into the brick wall only to find that you cannot break through it. More than anything, what I truly hope you guys take away from this today is that one of the things I started this podcast off with today, every single day is a clean slate. You may not feel that way, but every single day is a clean slate. You can change your mindset. You can change your emotions. You can change whether or not you're going to take action or you're not going to take action. You can make those decisions every single day. You don't have to wait till next week. You don't have to wait till next month. You just got to do it now. Hey everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you have not gotten your free copy of the MindFit Method book, head to themindfitmethod.com and all you have to do is put in your information. You just have to cover shipping and handling. I already bought the physical book for you. I just need you to cover the amount that it costs to ship it to you. So I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and until next time.